The demonic cult leader is my wife. Jin Yomyoung said to himself, I am aware it's a demand that crosses the line. Jin Younga said, you should be grateful that I think well of you. If it were another elder of the Qian clan, you'd already be a dead man. Jin Yomyoung said to himself, even so, I needed to help Qian Yura. Jian Yonga said, do you know the saying, if Zhou Yu is born, why must Zhuge Liang also be born? That's the exact relationship between Yura and Qian Yuzheng. Jin Yomyoung said to himself, it's a line from the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. As a man shouted, heavens, Zhou Yu has already been born, so why would you let Zhuge Liang be born as well? Qian Yonga said, if Yura hadn't existed, the divine cult's third female cult leader would have been Yuzheng. Compared to passive Yura, her temperament suits being a cult leader far better. Of course, that's only in a world where the variable called Yu doesn't exist. Jin Yomyoung said, please trust the young cult leader and I. As Qian Yonga smirked, she said, what do you think the cult leader's reaction to this will be? Jin Yomyoung said, he won't intervene. Qian Yonga said, why? Jin Yomyoung said, because he'll consider it a mere trial the young cult leader has to overcome, and he said to himself, and that's a fatal mistake, though the current cult leader would never realize it even if it killed him. Qian Yonga trembled in anger and said, yeah, he's a stubborn, unreasonable old wall whom even you can't talk to, so I'm the only one who has to suffer dealing with him. Jin Yomyoung said, you'll be suffering for another 20 years too. Qian Yonga said, right, the less chaos the better. I told you I'd help you once. If I give you the list of those supporting Qian Yuzheng, will that do? Jin Yomyoung said to himself, wait, there's something more important and urgent, something only the master of this contemplation heavenly pavilion that manages countless secret manuals and forbidden demonic arts can help with. Jin Yomyoung said, not that. Please teach me just one blade art. Qian Yonga, shocked and confused, said, huh? Jin Yomyoung said, it's a matter that my life depends on. Half a month later, Jin Yomyoung stood silently as he said, ha. Qian Yonga said, the Extreme Blades Pei clan, that's a good choice. Yes, since the Huang clan has joined the other side, we need allies on our side too, but Jin Yomyoung, your plan is missing the key point. As Jin Yomyoung looked above and said, that's true, no matter how many of the 6 clans I bring over, it'll be meaningless if we can't seize the Qian clan. Qian Yonga said, wasn't that why you asked for information on the Qian clan? Jin Yomyoung said, it was, but, how do I say this? Qian Yura said, you've come, Jin Yomyoung. It looks like today's exchange ceremony will be a dull one, it's just a meal. Jin Yomyoung said to himself, how am I supposed to say it to that face? Jin Yomyoung said, young cult leader, no, Lady Qian Yura, there's something urgent I need to discuss with you, and he said to himself, she'll definitely be hurt. Jin Yomyoung said, actually, Ma Jinyun said, young cult leader, what conversation could you two possibly be having so intimately? Jin Yomyoung said, also I hear today's exchange ceremony will be conducted privately again, like the first time. Qian Yura said, the cult leader even banned the talent show. Ma Jinyun said, so that's why the Lesser Demon Pavilion was so quiet. Jin Yomyoung said to himself, his disposition has changed, huh? Ma Jinyun said, I prepared quite a lot too, what a shame. Jin Yomyoung said to himself, just treating me like I don't exist isn't enough for me to make a decision. He always hated me anyway, but still, if the exchange ceremony starts like this with no prior mention, I'm completely screwed. A few moments later, Jin Yomyoung stood up and said, I have something to say to everyone gathered here. I, Jin Yomyoung, due to personal circumstances, will withdraw from the exchange ceremony. As a cup of tea suddenly dropped and shattered on the floor, Qian Yura looked at Jin Yomyoung. As Jin Yomyoung was silent, Qian Yonga said before, there is only one way you can approach the elders of the Qian clan for Yura's sake. Enter the Heavenly Intelligence Pavilion. As Jin Yomyoung was frozen in shock, he said, the very purpose of the Heavenly Intelligence Pavilion is to support the young cult leader Yura, the next cult leader. That's why among the elders of the Qian clan, a significant number of her supporters are bound to be positioned there. As Jin Yomyoung said before, if I enter the Heavenly Intelligence Pavilion, I'll never be able to achieve my goal. Jin Yomyoung closed his eyes. Qian Yura stepped on the shattered cup of tea and said in anger, the exchange ceremony is over, so everyone get out. Jin Yomyoung, you stay. As she raged in aura, the others left and said, what could he be thinking? Ma Jinyun said, this might be an opportunity for me. Qian Yura said, now then, let's hear your excuse. Jin Yomyoung said, I'm going to give up the chance to become a demonic faction lord and enter the Heavenly Intelligence Pavilion. Qian Yura said, Heavenly Intelligence Pavilion. The Heavenly Intelligence Pavilion? Jin Yomyoung said, I'm sorry, I was about to tell you earlier, but then Ma Jinyun showed up. Qian Yura said, why do you want to go to the Heavenly Intelligence Pavilion? Jin Yomyoung said, to keep the enemy in check and to make allies. Cheon Yura said, enemy? Don't tell me this is because of Cheon Yujung? Jin Yomyoung said, you knew? Cheon Yura said, so you're leaving because of Cheon Yujung, who covets what's mine, just as she wants. But this is for your sake. Cheon Yura, in anger, looked at Jin Yomyoung and said, even if someone else ends up standing at my side instead, are you fine with that? Jin Yomyoung said, that's... Cheon Yura suddenly dropped to the ground and said, someday I will definitely return, Lady Cheon Yura. Cheon Yura shouted, Jin Yomyoung. Jin Yomyoung said, and when that day comes, I will become wholly yours without hiding or giving anything up. Cheon Yura turned and said, get out, Jin Yomyoung. Until then, stay healthy. As Jin Yomyoung walked away, he then stopped, looked back, and was shocked and confused as the building exploded. Earlier, Cheon Yonga said, if you want, I'll write you a letter of introduction to the master of the Heavenly Intelligence Pavilion. Jin Yomyoung said, no. I recently became acquainted with them. Cheon Yonga, shocked, said, acquainted with that loner who stays shut in a room thinking nasty thoughts? Jin Yomyoung sweated and said, he told me to come to the Heavenly Intelligence Pavilion. Cheon Yonga said, he's still as greedy as ever. Be more careful of that man than of the elders. He's lived longer than he looks. Jin Yomyoung said, I'll keep it in mind. As the Heavenly Intelligence Pavilion Master, demonic gentleman Cheon Jumyoung's record is updated. A greedy, dangerous, baby-faced loner who locks himself in a room and thinks nasty thoughts. Thanks for tuning in. I truly appreciate each and every one of you who took the time to watch this video. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. If you enjoyed what you saw, consider sharing my videos or channel with your friends who might also enjoy it. Your support means the world to me and helps my channel grow. Let's keep this community thriving together. Until next time, see you in the next video.